Right, the stage is set for special session 1. May I now invite to take their place on the dais Ms. Hasan, Indian actress, television anchor and entrepreneur. Let's welcome them all with a big round of applause. 4 different claps for all 4 women, right? Ms. Lakshmi, Narayanan, whole-time director, Stands and Company. Ms. Vilasini, Subramaniam, financial services podcast host, chartered accountant and founder, the We Women Project. And last but not the least, squadron leader Ramita Choudhary in her impeccable uniform in the blues. May I request you to come on and take place on the dais. May I have the AV of the panelists, please?
Ms. Hasan is an Indian actress, television anchor and entrepreneur with over 3 decades of experience across media and business. An award-winning artist who has acted in over 20 films and hosted the iconic talk show Coffee with Anu, Ms. Anu is also a published author and public speaker. As a serial entrepreneur, Ms. Anu has founded and led several ventures and continues to work with startups, SMEs and the startup ecosystem. Ms. Lakshmi Narayanan is the whole-time director of Stands and Company Limited, a 150-year-old institution known for its contributions to Indian agriculture. An engineer educated at the University of Madras and the University of Southern California, Ms. Lakshmi has helped guide the company towards sustainable farming and innovations in biological and eco-friendly crop solutions. Ms. Lakshmi's leadership is defined by a people-first philosophy, championing responsible growth, farmer empowerment and environmental stewardship. Ms. Vilasini Subramaniam is a chartered accountant and financial services professional with over 2 decades of experience across housing finance, microfinance, banking and fintech lending ecosystems. Ms. Vilasini was a founding management committee member of Home First, helping scale it to a $1 billion balance sheet and a successful IPO. Ms. Vilasini is also the founder of the We Women Project, a podcast platform that shares inspiring conversations with accomplished women leaders. Squadron leader Ramita Choudhary is an officer in the Indian Air Force, commissioned in December 2014 as part of the 41 SSC W Flying Pilot Course. Known for her dedication, discipline and professional excellence, she embodies the spirit of service and resilience. Demonstrating remarkable endurance beyond her military role, Squadron leader Ramita qualified for the prestigious Ironman 70.3 Goa 2025, reflecting her grit and commitment to excellence.
Thank you. Now, may I invite Ms. Hasan to take the session forward, please.
Thank you very much. Very good morning to all of you. You know, our session today is about breaking boundaries and women achieving excellence in leadership and beyond. But when I see these incredible women that I'm seated next to, and as a moderator, what I see is resilience in motion, right? Because when we look at success, we think success is a straight line, but it isn't. It is sometimes circuitous, it is sometimes up and down, sometimes more down than up, but eventually we reach where we are. Whether it is, nurturing a legacy that is over 160 years old, whether it is, at the cockpit, or whether it is navigating the high-stakes world of corporate finance, it's been a very complex ecosystem that you all have navigated. We have Ms. Lakshmi Narayanan, who has shown us that being the leader is not just taking the helm, but nurturing the soil, so that the legacy can continue and flourish for another century. We have squadron leader Ramita Choudhary, who has also established herself and flourished in a male-dominated world of the Air Force, and she has completed the Ironman in a sub 7 hour. Mind you, that's brilliant. It's a sub 7 hour finish. And we have Ms. Vilasini Subramaniam, who has scaled a startup to a very successful IPO and then had a milestone of a 10,000 crore AUM, which is absolutely mind-blowing, right? And she didn't stop with corporate success. She now founded the We Women project, which is focused at empowering women by educating them and having very deep, meaningful conversations. So we have 3 different women, 3 arenas, and 1 very sustained pursuit of excellence. And when we talk to women like this, there is a lot that we can learn. So I'm going to start off this conversation. I'm going to ask you, Lakshmi, when you were entrusted with a legacy that is 160 years old, how did you define excellence? Because you're navigating, protecting that legacy. At the same time, you're pivoting the company towards a green and eco-friendly future. So how did you do that?
Thank you very much, Anu, for those kind words of introduction. Good morning to you all. Women in leadership and beyond. Women in leadership and beyond is a very important subject. I'm glad the MMA has decided to concentrate this session on that subject. It gives me great pleasure, and I'm honored to share this panel with such distinguished personalities who are truly inspirational. This is Lakshmi Narayanan. I'm the whole-time director of Tea Stains and Company Limited, Coimbatore. As Anu has said, Tea Stains and Company is a 165-year-old company with a history of significant achievements. It was founded by Sir Robert Staines, a Britisher who had come as a young man to join his family business in the Nilgiris. He was a pioneer and he set up the first company in the group, which was Staines Tea and Coffee. His intent was to sell red enzyme tea and coffee to England. He also set up the first textile mill in Coimbatore, and thus Coimbatore was born as the Manchester of South India. He went along and set up a lot of education, schools for European children then, but later on opened it to the Anglo-Indian community, both in the Nilgiris and in Coimbatore. Interestingly enough, he also pioneered the tea plantations in the group, and today Staines Amalgamated Estates and United Nilgiri Estates are known for selling premium teas in the international markets. After that, their family also pursued Staines Manure Works and also established the tire and retreading unit, and also had in the franchisee of motor cars, Staines Motors Limited. In 1961, Sri S. Anantharamakrishnan, the founder chairman of the Amalgamations Group, he was a brilliant businessman and a very iconic businessman and a great visionary. And he decided to acquire the Staines Group with the plantations. Thus, the Staines Group became a part of the Amalgamations Group. I started my journey in leadership by beginning with my family. My parents were very keen and emphasized on the priority for education. I grew up in a family surrounded by family members who had achieved outstanding success in leadership in their respective fields. They were inspirational, and soon they become my role models. There is one such, Dr. Anjani Manin, here today, who is my cousin as well. So thank you, Ranjani, for being the wind behind my wings during certain days. However, I joined Tea Stains and Company, and Tea Stains and Company at that time was manufacturing agrochemicals, which were commonly known as pesticides. I took up a lot of role and responsibilities in the various divisions of manufacturing, supply chain, administration, and so on and forth. Later on, I took up my roles and responsibilities in sales and marketing, which was actually the pulse of the business. When I saw that agrochemicals were sold by the company, it started ticking in my mind. We as women are very deeply conscious of the food that we eat, of the health of the family, and of the safety of the environment. I was also very deeply conscious of that. And I was primed to say that we needed to change the focus of the company to deliver solutions for agri inputs which are sustainable and also play a part in responsible agriculture. I wanted to bring about biologicals, which are eco-friendly molecules, safe to use, and also they're chemical-free, and they do not leave a residue on the food that we eat. However, these biologicals for crop protection and crop care were met with a lot of resistance and opposition in the markets. Agrochemicals and pesticides were very dominant in the markets. So anyway, I decided with firmness and conviction and had a lot of rounds of discussion with my colleagues and my peers, and we debated on it and found a consensus that the company has to change its focus, has to change its business strategy into going in with these biologicals. In our business, which is in agriculture, seeing is believing for the farmer. So once we had these products ready, these biologicals, we conducted large-scale trials in farmer fields across geographies and across different crops. At harvest time, I visited the fields along with my team, and I was extremely delighted to see the performance of the fields in the farmers' fields. So we found that the farmer had an increased yield on his products, and also the quality of his produce was chemical-free, and also it had such a better quality. And the farmer, most importantly, received better prices in the market. They were extremely satisfied with the performance of these products, and also the colleagues in my company were very happy to see the respect that we were getting for the decision that I made. And with also the company had grown in stature and size with the farmers, with our dealers, as well as with the industry. That was a winning moment for me. That was definitely, thank you very much. It was definitely a directional change in strategy, which was a defining moment for me and my team to proceed for leadership. Having said that, today, stains, biologicals, and other products have a pan-India presence and exported to 22 countries worldwide. We have received national awards, and we have received patents for some of our products. One more defining thing is that I owe my leadership on 3 main principles. The first principle that we must have is clarity of vision, clarity of focus, clarity as to where you want to see your trajectory in the career progression. Most importantly, we also have to bring in capacities, capabilities, and competencies to be able to provide innovative products and solutions. We need to have knowledge, talent, skills to be able to deliver world-class products and world-class services. The most important part is in collaboration, is in having a very good teamwork. Successful teamwork builds successful organizations. We as women have an amazing trait which we tend to underestimate, mostly multitasking. And we have traits which wherein we bring compassion, wherein we bring resilience, and we have clarity in whatever we do. I think we must endeavor to leverage these strengths and bring in for better performance in the workplace. Communication is very important to a leader. We must make sure that all our colleagues are aligned to the same purpose of the company. So, one more thing is that it is very important to note that entitlement does not bring you leadership. It is earned. It is earned through hard work, commitment, sacrifice, and all these were happenings in my journey which brought me to this stage. I think the most important challenges that women face in the workplace is actually equal opportunities that have to be provided to them. In our organization, we believe that we should be an equal opportunity employer, and we should recruit men and women with meritocracy, and we must be able to evaluate them with performance.
No, that was really beautifully encapsulated. That's a very long and arduous journey that you have encapsulated. But I think you missed the core thing, which is you led with your heart, isn't it? Because she talks about clarity of vision, she talks about purpose, being able to give equal opportunity for everyone. But it came from a firm conviction that my family must eat well, safe food, every family, right?
Very right, Ranu. All of us excel in ourselves only if we have the passion to perform. And I certainly felt that my journey in reaching here has been rewarded, something that has been ignited with passion and a legacy that brings in a very great responsibility for me to carry out in the future for another 165 years.
Yes, yes. And that's the beauty, because when you lead with your heart, people have no option but to see the truth in it. And considering manufacturing and agriculture is so male dominated, it gives you the power to lead with a quiet authority, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely one thing is that in agriculture, you will see that 50% of women are employed in agriculture. Women form actually the backbone of the agriculture. They perform all the operations in farm, from sowing to harvest.
Yeah.
However, they do not get
Equal pay.
equal.
Yes.
And
It's
I
almost
think-
half, isn't it?
Yes, in
It's
certain
almost half.
states, it's half. And most importantly, only 10% of the women actually own titles to the lands
land
that they farm and cultivate. This limits the access to financial assistance, which is so much so needed.
Yes.
And these women manage the fields and manage their families because most of the men have migrated to towns and cities for better prospects of employment. So these women have been able to multitask and have been able to do crop management practices. And today's women is really very technology savvy because, as was said, AI, we have a lot of new concepts evolving in agriculture where it's very important to have precision and smart agriculture. And we are having machinery in order to remove manual work and drudgery. So a lot of developments are happening. And as Sanjana said earlier, water today is a very expensive resource. We need to conserve it and use it. And we have to make sure that in agriculture, there are two variables, which is monsoon and the market price. So wherever we can practice climate resilient agriculture and conserve water resources. And a lot of people, now women farmers are doing it in Maharashtra, and that is highly commendable and appreciated.
Yeah. So when it is a male-dominated industry, I mean, and you have made a mark, so have the other two ladies here. Squadron Leader Ramita, the Air Force, purely, I mean, largely male-dominated, and you have not only, navigated it, but you have flourished there. What skill set do you think a woman needs to establish her authenticity, her importance and her relevance in a world where there are more men than women?
Okay. Hi, good morning, everyone. So, as we know, so for the Air Force specifically, and as pilots, so we fly a machine. So that machine does not actually differentiate between whether a male is flying it or a female is flying it.
We'd rather that they were machines, no?
So the skill set required for a male or a female in the aircraft, when you're in the cockpit, when you're the captain of the aircraft, whether you are taking 50 passengers in your aircraft or you're taking whatever load, it will not differentiate between whether a male is there or a female is there. It's the same skill set that is required, the same confidence that is required, same preparation that is required.
And it doesn't make a difference that whether the number of female pilots are lesser or the number of male pilots are more, it just doesn't make a difference.
Not at all, not at all.
Would that be your mindset or every...
I'm sure the predecessors have done so well. Our predecessors,
Yes.
we started flying, the Air Force started inducting female pilots in the year 1993. So since that time, I think all the females who have been there, they have made such mark there that they have been so professional that because of their hard work, I think everybody is now convinced that a female pilot or a male pilot, there's no difference.
True. Beautifully said, because we all stand on the shoulders of giants, right? And we, in turn, can be the giants on whose shoulders the future generations can stand on. And that is exactly what you are doing, no, Vilasini, when you say that, there are not enough women leaders at the CXO level. Sorry, was that me? Not very many leaders, women leaders at the CXO level. And leaky pipeline is a truth. So how do you think, and what do you think we need to be doing in order to make sure that women rise to leadership positions?
Thank you so much. First and foremost, thank you MMA for this wonderful opportunity, an absolute privilege to be on this panel and be a speaker in this very well put together event. So thank you so much for that. And Anu, answering your question, yes, there is clearly a vacuum at the CXO level, at women leadership, while it is changing. And I love what Ramita says because, I think the work done by the predecessors are clearly moving the gender bias away and making it more equal. But in the last year that I have spent talking to some extraordinary women leaders, there are 3-4 things that keep coming up again and again. And it might sound cliche, but I think the path to success has one, showing up. Just the simple thing of just showing up in your workplace or in whatever you do, however hard your day feels or seems like. The second is, building an inner resilience and curiosity. When you don't stop to learn, when you don't stop to enjoy what you're doing, when that passion doesn't leave you, I think you keep going. Then there is no leaky pipeline, there is nothing there. You're willing to work on it long term. And third, very important thing and quite relevant for today's session will be the generosity that every previous generation, they call it pay it forward. So, the generosity to give back to your juniors, to their juniors, that kind of builds a community. That creates the safe spaces for us to build on, to make this more accessible, to make this more inclusive and equitable. I think, that to me would be some of the key points that I have learned in the last year.
Which is that give to gain, which is
Give
what,
to gain,
isn't
which is
it?
the whole theme.
Yeah. And do you think that, how do you think that mentoring and being generous in the way you share your knowledge, how do you think it makes us better leaders?
Oh my God. I think, when you stop thinking about yourself and you start thinking about the other, you don't even realize the kind of impact it has on you as an individual. It just changes perspectives. It just changes the way we look at the world, and growth is just a natural outcome. It just has to happen. So I think we realize it a tad late. If it starts coming in early, that we need to invest in building others, we need to invest in building the communities around us, I think we'll go places. One thing I'd like to add, there's this often quoted, stated that, for a man's success, there is one woman behind it, or some such thing. I mean, I can't remember it exactly. But for a woman's success, there's a whole village.
Yeah, absolutely.
Behind that woman succeeding, there are so many elements, there's a whole village. And for that village to thrive and succeed, you have to give. Everybody in their individual capacity has to give. It's non-negotiable according to me. And of course, I mean, the beautiful outcome of it is we gain much more than what we give.
True. And we become better versions of ourselves,
much better
versions of the
versions of
leadership skills that we had prior to that.
Absolutely.
Isn't it?
Absolutely.
And when you look at this, all three of you operate in areas where the margin for error, especially yours, squad leader Ramita, the margin for error is 0 for you. And the margin for error for both of you is also very small. But what happens is when the margin is like that, there is a pressure that is there. And this is a common question to all three of you, how do you distinguish between the pressure to be perfect and the drive to be excellent? Because one is limiting and the other kind of makes you grow. So how would you look at that? Do you feel the pressure to be perfect?
Yeah, that's a very interesting point. And I think it depends from profession to profession, on leadership to leadership. Having said that, there is always a desire to excel because competition is staring at you in the face. So you want to be a dominant player. And the desire to be perfect may be to conquer awards. Like I would like to reach the best in the standards of class in the national level and the international level. So there is a race between the two, and sometimes we have to choose which one we want. And it depends upon the priorities, it depends upon the situation, and where you want to take your company onwards.
So I think as ma'am also covered, so as leaders, I think it is very important that whatever task that you have, like you said that there's no margin for error. So we absolutely have no margin for error. So the only way is that you can prepare well. That is the only thing that you can do on ground before you're going for a mission or anything. Preparation is the key. You have to be prepared, you have to be best, you have to outshine whatever comes your way, whatever emergency you get, whatever you have, whatever challenge you can expect. The preparation is the only key.
Yeah. And it's not for the faint-hearted.
Not
Isn't it? And I definitely would like to, at this point, talk to you about your Ironman experience, because doing it under the 7-hour limit is something, it's a badge of honor. What was going on in your mind when you'd done the swim, which you're not a swimmer, right? Yeah, you're not a swimmer, and yet she's done the 2-kilometer swim, right? And then there is 90 kilometers of cycling.
90 kilometers cycling
And then 21 kilometers of running.
half marathon.
Half marathon, right? Now you're doing all of this and you're preparing for it. When you're actually doing the 21 kilometers and you've reached maybe the 15-kilometer mark, what was going in your head?
So actually, that's a very interesting question because so not at the running, but I remember at the 60-70 kilometer mark of cycling, I remember thinking to myself that, oh my God, I still have to run a half marathon after this. Because when you're cycling and you're not allowed to have any music, you're not allowed to have any headphones. So the only thing you are battling with is actually your thoughts. So after a point, it is less to do with the physical part, but a lot more to do with the mental part. So that mental toughness kicks in during that time, that 60-70 kilometer mark of cycling, and you're just wondering to yourself, okay, I still have to do it. I still have a long way to go. And yeah, during the run, obviously, it's a very long run. 21.1 is an independent event for a lot of people, for which you go fresh, with fresh legs.
And you finished at 90 kilometers of cycling.
After 90 kilometer, I did that 21.1 kilometers in heavy humidity and heat. If you've been to Goa, you know the humidity is so bad that you're all the time sweating. But I think it's all the mental part because your legs are just moving after a point. It's all mental after a certain point of time.
Yeah. And do you think that experience in some way changed the way you look at leadership? That endurance, has it changed your approach to leadership in any way?
Definitely. So as leaders, I think one very important lesson that you can take away for leadership, for the leaders here, is that any task like this, it may seem humongous when you're starting out. Like the 1.9 kilometer swim felt humongous to me. I thought that's huge. It's not possible. It's impossible. And then 90 kilometers and then 21, that distance is impossible. It's a total of 113 kilometers, which feels like a huge distance. But the only thing that you can do is probably prepare well and prepare thinking that you can break it into small pieces, like small chunks. Okay, today I will probably for a few months, I will focus on my swim. I will come to 400 meters, I'll come to 500 meters, I'll come to reach 1.9, then cycling, then running. So that breaking it to chunks is important. Even during the race, it's important that probably, okay, next stroke, next buoy, next mark. So that's how you should go, even in leadership, I think.
So I think instead of taking it as a big piece of work, you take it into bite-sized chunks and go systematically through it.
Exactly.
Yeah? Oh, that's a very valuable input because many times we are daunted by what we need to achieve. So it makes a lot of sense when we look at it like that. Vilasini, I can't let you get away without answering this one because when it comes to managing these big targets, she says break it into bite-sized chunks, but you have approached this big target of an IPO and a 10,000 crore assets under management, all that, in a very different way. And I'm sure a lot of people in the audience would be very keen to understand what are the pointers you'd like to share with someone with an early stage startup? What are the pointers they need to bear in mind in order to come to a successful IPO or an exit?
Sure. Before I start, I just want to kind of put out how many IPOs do you think would be women-led in the last 163 years of India having its first IPO? Any guesses? How many women-led IPOs, women founders, CEOs?
I only know a Nykaa.
Yeah.
Nykaa, only that I
Nykaa, Biocon, and then there's Mama Earth.
Mama Earth.
Right now. But the number is 25 around. The estimated number in 163 years is 25. But you know, the good part of it is today we have 7,000 startups with women founders, 7,000 plus startups with women founders. So I'm hoping that this audience will have people wanting to go that path, having the confidence to build. And here, you know, from my own experience, I think we don't need to focus on the outcome. If IPO has to happen, it will happen. You know, that is a very natural progression. What you have to break it down, taking up from what she says, if you have to break it down into bite-sized goals, first is have a problem to solve. Have a genuine problem to solve on the ground. It needn't be innovation. It needn't be something that you're doing for the first time. It can be something what somebody else has done, like, ma'am, just change pesticides to biologicals, which is so relevant for today, in today's world. So if you can find that answer or what your passion is calling you out, that's number one. Number two is that, once you have this solution, find the interesting, have a customer-centric approach. We often forget that what are we doing this for? Ultimately, there is a customer over there that we are servicing. And that customer centricity has to form the core reason why you exist. Whether it's process, product, policy, whatever it is that customer. So if you keep doing that, you're building a great business automatically. The third thing, which is quite relevant today, is, the valuation game. People there's a vanity metric to say, I raised so much money, I raised that much money, I raised this much money. Actually, I think the answer is in the fundamentals. Is your business model strong enough? Are you profitable? Is your cash flows in place? Do you have your management team in place to build this to the next 10,000 crore, 20,000 crore company? Then you're sorted. So I think just keeping your eyes focused on the ground, on building the core business and not going after vanity metrics will be a very, very important thing in the part of a growth phase. And finally, I feel governance, which is sometimes very underrated, is the core of every company's existence. If you think you're not going to focus on governance now and you're going to pull it up, 10 years hence before you go into an IPO or before you go public, that's not going to happen. You have to build it into the culture. I mean, by governance, I mean that, little things where your conscience is saying, may not, just listen to the reasoning that's saying that you should do it in a particular way and should avoid the other one. So listen to your conscience again and again, build with integrity, build with purpose, build to solve somebody's problem and solve it at scale. Automatically, IPO, growth, valuations, everything will come your way. Yeah. I think, the core fundamentals is what I would believe in.
Because what happens is many times founders fall in love with their own concept without seeing whether it's actually, and they also fall in love with the idea of the 10x valuation, 20x valuation, correct. Without looking at the basics. I think it's so important that what you say is kept in mind.
So I think, that's all we need to build successful business. And I'm really hoping the 7,000 IPO will happen very soon.
Yes. Here. And we have time for the audience questions. You see the QR code, if you can scan it and give in some questions, if you want to ask any of the panelists. While we wait for your questions, do we already have it? The video. She's got video. Not yet. We finish the audience question and then we come to the address. Yes. So while we wait for the audience question, I'll just have one thing which is common to all of you. We have so many young women here at various stages of growth in their careers, with lots of dreams and ambitions, and fears and insecurities. What is a message that you would like to give them from your own learnings that will stand them in good stead?
Yeah.
No, you go ahead.
Yeah. It's wonderful to see such a good attendance of young women here. And certainly I'm assured that a lot of them will blossom to be leaders in their lives and very successful. So the most important aspect that I find in our workplace and that I have seen in other industries where women are participating is that they have this conflict or dilemma between balancing work and balancing their family. There is no balance. That's what I wanted to tell you. There is no balance. The expectations of the family and vis-a-vis your professional goals and commitments have to be prioritized by you. It is only an integration, and the choices that you make are definitely yours. And stick to it. Please don't ever feel guilty about the choice that you have made. And that is very important in career, and that will keep cropping. It doesn't stop with one, it will keep cropping, and the frequency, the way it crops, is very, very fast. Another important aspect that I want to share with you is that on gender bias, we will all meet gender bias in some form or the other, but don't recognize it. Try to see how effective you are in the workplace. As far as I'm concerned, it's my performance and it's my effectiveness that will gain recognition, and not whether I'm a man or woman, as she had rightly said. It's not the machine, it's yourself. And you can prove it with commitment. I think eliminating gender bias begins at home. We need to cultivate that roles and responsibilities for man and women are shared equally, if not shared in a manner that brings harmony in their homes and gives better understanding of the roles played by men and women, which definitely has an effect and an impact, and a positive one, when with better understanding, with a harmonization of skill sets in the workplace. And that is what we are all aiming for, which will give us better development of the individual and of the community and perhaps of the nation. And my parting message to all of you here is that believe in yourself, believe in your dreams, and be the change that you want to see in this world. Thank you, and wish you all the very best of success.
Ashley Squadron Ramita, I was about to say let's go with the question, but then with the kind of message that Lakshmi ma'am gave, we have a video that I think needs to be played before you even look at that question, because that question is also very relevant. So let's do the video like you said. Ooh, look at that. You are looking at this lady who flies the Dornier, the Avro, those huge beasts. What message do you have for our ladies here?
Okay, so my message would be that, so I used to be very scared as a kid. I did not start playing any sport till I went to college and academy. I was very scared because I was scared of being judged, and what if I'm bad at it? What if everybody laughs at me? You know those thoughts that you keep getting in your head at times? So even I used to get those thoughts when I was a young kid. And because of that, I never even thought of playing any sport. But now that I've already played few sports and I have reached here doing that Ironman, so I realized that there's no point in being scared. I mean, what if there's something better waiting for you beyond being scared? So yeah, that's my message. Don't be scared to try something new. Just there's always something good that is beyond fear. That is, वही डर के आगे जीत है तो yeah, डर के आगे जीत है definitely.
Your message to the young women.
I liked your question on perfection, which I didn't get to answer. It felt particularly real because I have struggled with it myself. So I think as women, we try to be perfect versions of ourselves, whether it's at home, whether it's at work, and we carry that intense pressure that is not required. I think we just need to let go, we need to breathe, and just let things happen. If you stay the course, the best things do happen. They do come your way. It can be non-linear, it can be, at a time when you don't expect it to come your way, but it's there waiting for you to happen. All you have to be is, be confident, be self-composed, and not put these unwanted pressures on yourself. The other thing I have struggled with in my career is a sense of isolation, which is why I started my podcast as well. That, are we the only ones struggling through this? Why is this happening only to me? These are the thoughts that, can build within you so easily. Then you go talk to 10 people and you realize that you're not alone. Everybody is going through the same set of issues as you are. And there is no isolation. So my request is, don't put yourself through isolation. Go reach out, talk to 5 people, talk to 10 people. Automatically you will find that, you have your answers. All the answers are within you, by the way. Nothing will come from outside, but you will get the answers and you will feel more confident going back there and giving your best. So good luck. It seems like a wonderful audience out here. So good luck to each one of you.
Very, very nicely said. And I would like to add to that, because one of the things that is a big downer is when we go into the victim mentality, right? When you say, oh, why me? Why me? And you know what? What the answer to that is, why not me is the answer. Why me? The answer is why not me? So the question we need to be asking ourselves when something happens, I feel, is what next? Okay, this is bad. We're broken. Okay, let's recoup. Look at what's next. So I would like to add that to you. And we have a question from the audience. Squad leader Ramita, this is for you. In your opinion, who tends to face or set more boundaries in life? Men or women? And who experiences more restrictions? Oh, they're talking about facing and setting.
Both, yeah. So that's my opinion, and I think it's a general opinion because ma'am had already said the same thing, that as women, there are more expectations out of us. So that word expectations, yes, it is there from women, which is more than men. And restrictions, yes, a lot of restrictions, especially in terms of, so when I was training for my Ironman, I remember I used to be the only person, some days, I used to be only the person on the road in the dark, running or cycling. And even in the swimming pool, I used to be the only female. So those restrictions are there, but they are all mental, let me tell you. I mean, some days, like in the gym also, you might be the only female entering there. So you might feel that awkwardness, okay, everybody is looking at me, everybody is judging me. That feeling I can totally understand. But then it's all mental. It's all in your own mind. Nobody is there sitting to judge you. Nobody is there watching you run. Yes, safety is an issue. There's no denying it. So yeah, safety is a big restriction for all of us. So the only way is, yes, having a good support, good people around you who will support you in your dreams, who will challenge you to become a better version of yourselves.
Crisply said. Thank you. Vilasini, this is for you. What leadership skills should young women develop early if they aspire to build or lead financial institutions?
I think I would keep saying be strong in your fundamentals. I think that's non-negotiable. Be authentic. I don't think anything else works better than authenticity in this world that we live in today. So be as authentic as you can. Have your fundamentals strong. And if your communication skills aren't the best, then it's good to work on it slightly earlier because that will give you a little bit of an edge as you grow.
Okay. And there is a common question for all three of you. What is that one trait that you wish to see in every woman?
The one trait that I want to see in everyone is believe in yourself. Be confident. The glass ceiling is not external. Actually, Ramita has already crashed it. She's gone up to the skies. So the glass ceiling is only internal. So reach for the skies.
And maybe re-engineer the building if the glass ceiling is stopping you.
Yeah, I think listening to the panel today, for me, the word is fearlessness. I just feel if we are fearless, I think we can conquer a lot more.
I think same message. That one trait has to be confidence, and that confidence comes only through preparation.
It's a common thread, isn't it? Because most of the fears and insecurities and doubts can be erased by preparation, which builds the confidence. Vilasini, this is a question for you. What difficulties did you experience in the early stages of your career as a CA? And what guidance would you offer to freshers who have recently completed CA or CMA?
I think as a chartered accountant, I don't know if things have changed now. I'm really ancient from that perspective. But when I cleared, the one thing that I lacked from my MBA peers was the networking, was the access to people, things like that we were very, very slow in building. So if you're doing your CA, I mean, it's a great course, it's a great entry-level course, but consciously start engaging with mentors, engaging with groups of people who can help you further your career. I think that is very important. The other, of course, I was very, very grateful with all my first bosses and all my mentors who were great people who kind of guided me through. The other is know what you want to do. Because purpose sometimes, takes a very long time to build. And, having a CA, CMA, MBA sort of degrees opens a level playing field to do whatever you want. So decide, whether you want to do corporate banking, whether you want to do consumer banking, whether you want to do, retail lending in some form, or you want to do some other industry as a CFO. So it's a very wide option. And couple of years into your career, you will get labeled for what you do. Then to move on, maybe now things are changing and there's more diversity, but these are 2-3 things that I would think. So, be very sure of what you want to do. If you don't know, go seek out mentorship, ask people, etc. And network.
There was this conversation when they said that men, because they have opportunities to network, because in the evening when they socialize, they're networking, they tend to build stronger networks. And I think we as women need to make the effort to build that.
Yeah, in the corporate world, it's called the old boys club.
Yes.
So, which just very seamlessly builds. For us, it's effort.
Yes.
We never like to put ourselves out. It is effort, but it has to be done.
Yes. The next question, Lakshmi, this is for you. Legacy organizations often carry deep institutional habits. How do you introduce change without disrupting organizational trust?
Yeah, I just want to add to what Vilasini first said and share this with you, if I may. One important aspect is encourage women and men, but more so to be able to explore cross-domain interests and opportunities. Because we have been trying this in our companies and we are very much rewarded. Our company had a woman lady finance lead, and she expressed interest in taking opportunities in sales and marketing of teas. So we said that we are willing to give her that opportunity, and if she's interested. And she worked hard with commitment to learn, and she did an excellent job of it. And she was given a lot of appreciation by our international customers. So that also showed that it's possible that women can work in various domains.
Very important point there. I think, we don't live in a world where just one silo will work. Going the horizontal and vertical way will be the way forward. I think.
How do you
without disrupting the trust? Yeah, trust is very important to all of us. We, in our organizations, values, integrities, and ethics are extremely important and they are cornerstones for success of the organization. So it is very important to see that we have to be very careful about how we operate on these issues. And most importantly, we must be able to have an open mind and have a calculated risk taken on those activities.
Ramita, this is your... For me? Oh, I thought I was off the hook. Okay.
I read the question from getting stuck.
Okay.
The question is, having successfully navigated role as an actor, author, entrepreneur, television host, what minds help you to reinvent yourself across different fields, and what advice would you like to give to professionals who wish to diversify the career and emulate you in their own life?
First off, don't emulate me. Because let me tell you, the path that I chose suits me. It suits my personality, right? So the decisions that I made are those, the consequences are those that I'm willing to face. So I think to turn it around, I would say, if you wish to diversify and if you wish to explore, I think you need to understand yourself very, very well. What your capabilities are, what your strengths are. And if you understand that, that is something that will help you diversify. The other thing is, I don't have a fear of failure. I honestly don't. Because, let me clarify. I have the shame for failure. I feel bad, I feel ashamed and all of that, but I don't feel afraid because you feel shame only after the event if you fail. Fear is something that stops you from trying. So for me, I don't have that fear. And I think, what is the worst that can happen? You think about it, you try something. Okay, you are very icky at it. Doesn't matter, at least you've tried. And in the process, you learn more about yourself, right? So whether it was writing for me, whether it was running companies, or whether it is Coffee with Anu or Rekha IPS where I do stunt scenes, whatever it is, it was all me exploring what am I capable of. So if you ask your question, what you are capable of, believe me, the answer is going to be so huge, one life is not enough to explore all your capabilities.
One last question, again for you.
For me again.
Again for you.
Yes.
As someone rooted in tradition, yet very contemporary in outlook, how do you see Indian women balancing cultural expectations and modern aspirations?
That's a very politically charged question, I say. And with my usual nimbleness, I shall try and in the Kazhuvara meenla Naluvara meen madri. See, the thing is, we are all deeply rooted in tradition, right? And culture and tradition is all very integral to our world. But then we are also being exposed to a lot that is happening outside. So believe me, 15, 20 years ago when we went in the villages, we didn't see girls wearing the kind of clothes that they're wearing now. So we are changing, right? And there's nothing wrong with it. I think, how do you navigate that? Be clear what your values are, okay? If your values, what is important to you, what defines you, what brings you pride, if you're clear about those things, navigating all these things of cultural expectations are all very jujube. It's really easy. You don't have to worry about it. And yes, that's well, I didn't want it to make it about me, but thank you for the opportunity to answer these questions. I do enjoy questions, but I enjoyed talking to these three incredible women so much more. Thank you for making the time. Thank you for sharing your experience. And I am truly, truly thankful to MMA for the opportunity, because how else would I have met the three of you?